If you're new to Magic Arena, you may have noticed that you have a bunch of new starter decks waiting for you. But you might not want to play them because most, if not all, the cards in some of these decks are for the Alchemy format. So what we're going to do today is we're going to try to retrofit some of these decks to fit the standard format. And we're going to do it on a budget. So that means no more than 10 mythics or rare cards for these deck upgrades, so that anyone new to the game won't have a hard time playing them. So we're going to get started with the MonoWhite offering. Okay, so here's the first deck that we're going to be taking a look at today. This was the pre-constructed deck called Keep the Peace. Now this deck has a theme, like a noticeable theme of life gain, small creatures, and like buffing those creatures to kind of like break through the enemy defenses in the later game. So if all these cards that are in red, like this highlighted red haze right here, these are cards that are not legal for the standard format. All the cards that are clear to see, all these white cards, these are the cards we're going to be replacing them with. So let's take a quick look at what we're actually working with here. So if you look at the original cards in this deck, you see cards like Charmed Stray, you see Tactical Advantage, Fencing Ace, Hallowed Priest. See, like a lot of these cards have a sub-theme of just getting you like a little bit of life gain for stability and kind of like beefing up the creatures that you end up playing. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at what we're going to be replacing these cards with and how we're upgrading the deck. Now, this deck that we built, I believe, only has like 9 rare and mythic cards in it. So this should be pretty easy for someone to build right out the gate. So what we're looking at here is instead of Tactical Advantage, we're actually going to be running Blessed Defiance. So what this card does is for the exact same mana cost and at instant speed, it gives a creature +2/+0 and also gives them lifelink. And when that creature dies in combat or however this turn, even if the creature dies post-combat from like a removal spell or something, you're going to get a 1/1 Flying Spirit as well. Now another theme in this deck that we're going with is we are going with a sub-theme of humans and human synergies. So if you look at Flare of Faith over here, this is a card that it acts as a combat trick, but also is a little bit more powerful if you target a human with it. So you see here it says, target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn, but if it's a human, it gets +3/+3 instead, and gets indestructible until end of turn. So it gets a little bonus for being a human. Now, Charmed Stray, we don't really have a creature that like fits this exact mold, but we do have something that is kind of like it. So what we have in standards, we have Lunarch Veteran. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life, and it has a disturb cost. What disturb means is if this card is in your graveyard, you can cast it from your graveyard for the disturbed cost. And the disturb is 1 and a white. So if you play this turn 1 and your opponent happens to kill it, you can play it on turn 2 for the disturb cost. And the disturb cost will have it come into play on its backside as the Luminous Phantom. And what this does is it's a 1/1 flyer, and whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield, gain 1 life. So instead of gaining life when creatures come into play, they gain life when they leave play. And if the Phantom would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exiled instead. So that way this card won't keep recurring itself every turn. You just you get to use this creature once on both sides. So that's a pretty decent 1-drop for the theme we're going for this deck, because it has the human tag and it also gives us some life gain for stability. On the other hand, we have Recruitment Officer, which is also a human. It's a 2/1 for only 1 white mana, so it's pretty decent power and toughness for cost. The reason this is in here, though, is because not only does it fit our theme, but it also allows us to dig into our deck a little bit to try and get more creatures out into the battlefield. And so what this does, it has this activated ability of 3 and a white. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card with mana value 3 or less from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. So it allows you to dig a little bit deeper when you're in the mid to late game and you have a little bit of extra mana. So that's what we're taking in and removing in the 1 slot. So the Charm Strays are out, the Lunarch Veterans are in, Tactical Advantage is out, Blessed Defiance is in. Now, we look at the 2-cost area, and we have cards like Fencing Ace, Hallowed Priest, Impassioned Orator, Moorland Inquisitor. So in the case of some of these cards are just garbage cards. Like Moorland Inquisitor, no one would ever play this card, period. You're getting too little for the mana investment. So Moorland Inquisitor is out, and instead we're bringing in Cathar Commando. And Cathar Commando is great because for the exact same cost, you get a creature with +1 power, -1 defense, unfortunately, but it has flash, which means you can cast this on your opponent's turn. And it also has the ability to sacrifice itself to destroy an artifact or an enchantment. So if your opponent is playing a pesky artifact or enchantment that is really screwing with your game plan, you can kill it off real quick. So, also the fact that it has flash means you can flash in a 3-power blocker at instant speed. So, pretty good. I'm very happy with that over Moorland Inquisitor. Also, we have the Hallowed Priest. This would be something that would fit our theme if we had something like this in Standard, but unfortunately we do not. We only have this in Alchemy. So instead of this, we're actually going to be running Intrepid Adversary. Now this is one of our rare and mythic slots, so this is, if you don't have this initially, you might need to spend a little bit of wild cards on this, but it's very worthwhile. It's a very good card. It is a human, so it fits the human theme. And it's also a 3/1 with lifelink, which means when it deals damage, you gain life equal to the damage dealt. And when it comes into play, you can pay a colorless and a white any number of times. So it's like kicker, but you can kick it multiple times over and over and over. For each time you do this, it gets a +1/+1 counter on it. And it gives the rest of your team +1/+1 for every +1 counter on the Intrepid Adversary. So instead of having the Hallowed Priest for life gain and giving a +1/+1 counter for himself, you're getting this guy who gives +1/+1 to the entire team. So he's a very good card. Aside from that, the Impassioned Orator, we don't really have a good replacement for that fits the same niche, but what we do have is something that's going to help us in the long term, breaking through the enemy's defenses in the Coppercoat Vanguard. This is another human that gives your other humans +1/+0 and ward 1. So again, in with the human synergies, helps your other humans, and also makes it harder for your opponent to cast spells on your cards with the ward 1. Let's see here. So Fencing Ace out, Hallowed Priest out, Impassioned Orator out, Moorland Inquisitor out. Now down here, we have 3 copies of Pacifism. So Pacifism, unfortunately, is not in Standard, but what we do have in Standard is something a lot better. We have Ossification. For the exact same mana investment, 1 colorless and 1 white, instead of making a creature unable to attack or block, you will just straight up exile a creature or a planeswalker an opponent controls. And this is an uncommon, so you're not going to be wasting any rare slots on this card, so it's really good. So that's what we're replacing in our 2 slots. Now, in the 3 slot, we had Angel of Vitality, but we don't have a good replacement for that. But what we do have is we have a very good human knight in Adeline Resplendent Cathar. What this does is it is a *4, and that star is a variable number. It means that its amount is going to be equal to the number of creatures you have in play. So, and it has vigilance as well, so it means it's not going to be tapping when attacking, so that's fantastic. So it's a very good replacement here. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the evasion of flying, but what it does do is it creates more creatures whenever you attack. And then we also have the Gavany Dawnguard. The Gavany Dawnguard, I like this a lot because it comes in with an innate ward 1. It is a human, so it has the human synergy. And what this does is, if it's neither day nor night, it becomes day as Gavany Dawnguard enters the battlefield. Whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card with mana value 3 or less from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. And so this will work very well with all these guys you have in the 1, 2, and 3 slot, because this will pick up any of those cards. And you're just like, oh, okay, I like that one for this situation. Let's put it into our hand. So as the days and nights roll on, you may be able to get this to trigger multiple times and get more cards out of your library. So this kind of does the exact same thing that the recruitment officer does, only it does it as a triggered ability, not an activated ability that costs mana. So you can actually just get this rolling at the beginning of a turn and also play that card on the same turn. So it's a little bit better than the recruitment officer in that regard. Now, over here we have, in the 4 slot, we had Lane and War Leader. Now, while Lane and War Leader is a very good card, we can't play it in Standard. It's not legal, so it's only an Alchemy card. But what we kind of have is we kind of have the Lane and War Leader's ability of creating cats on Adeline, but Adeline creates humans instead. So, again, human synergy, still get the ability to create creatures. So instead of the Lane and War Leader, we're actually going to go with the Sarah Paragon. The Sarah Paragon fits this small creature and life gain theme because of what she does. And what she is a 3/4 for 4 mana. And she has flying, and once during each of your turns, you may play a land card from your graveyard or cast a permanent spell with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard. If you do, it gains when this permanent is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, exile, and you gain 2 life. So, for example, you play this on like turn 4 or 5 in the mid game, and your graveyard is already full of cards, like other creatures that have died. You can replay them, get them back into play. If they die again, you gain more life. So, this is just another card to help you stabilize the game. Make sure that other aggressive decks aren't going to just bowl you over. You have a chance to stabilize. And you get to replay your cards over and over, which is fantastic. Sarah Paragon is a really good card. But also another rare, so this is going to be another thing you may need to craft if you don't have it already. Now, you see all this red in this section here. This deck originally had a bunch of 5, 6, even 7 cost cards that I don't really think we need to be going that heavy into for a deck like this. So what we ended up doing is we replaced all of these cards with lower casting cost cards like the Gavany Dawnguard and the Recruitment Officer. So we have more of an aggressive early start. But what we did do is we also brought in 2 5 cost cards, and this is called the Boonbringer Valkyrie. This is one of the newer cards from Martial Machines. And this is a very interesting card. It can be used as a great finisher because it has the ability backup. And what backup does is when this card comes into play, you choose another creature that you have in play, you give it a +1/+1 counter, and you give it all the text on this card. So this card has backup 1, flying, first strike, and lifelink. So let's say, for example, you have Gavany Dawnguard or Adeline already in play, and your opponent has a bunch of creatures on the table, but they're on the ground, so they got a bunch of blockers, right? So you play the Boonbringer Valkyrie, put a +1/+1 counter on Adeline or the Gavany Dawnguard or whatever it's got, and it is +1 power more, has flying, first strike, and lifelink, and you're just able to smash in real fast. It's like it's a good card for just getting something into the air and crushing your opponent for that last hit you need to get in. So that is going to be the only 5 cost card that we're going to be playing in this deck. Everything else is going to be 1, 2, 3, and 2 copies of a 4 cost card. So you can see this deck is a lot more low to the ground than it originally was. We are keeping with the theme of small creatures, life gain, kind of aggressive play style. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to finish this deck, take out all of the old cards we can't play anymore, and we're going to see how it does in a few games on the ladder. So we'll see you in the games. Record, so we're going to record the games. And into Arena. Alright, cool. Alright, so we are doing best of 1 ranked. We're in Diamond at the moment, and we are playing a starter deck. Alright, let's get to it. This should be interesting. Alright. Alright, we got ourselves an orc. Now, if I'm to go off of what I'm expecting, of the ladder lately, I'm probably going to run into mono red about 5 times in a row. Oh, I was wrong. I'm playing against a white deck. So let's start with the Lunarch Veteran. Let's see what they're playing. Okay, they're playing humans, so they got a Copper Coat Vanguard. So let's go ahead and play this, and play our own Copper Coat Vanguard. You get a +1, and an attack for 2. So let's see if life gain happens to be the edge in this match. Oh, he's going to target my ossification. That's okay. At least he should target ossification. Yeah. Good man. Yep, I can kill that. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Let's go ahead and play the other Lunarch. Gain a life, and we all attack. See if he's dumb enough to block. He is! How blessed. Alright, that guy's gone. And I get a spirit and a life gain. That was kind of nice. Extraction Specialist. Okay. Alright, so let's see here. Let's go with another Plains. And we're going to... do I want to hit the Ossify? What does this do? Enters the battlefield. Return target creature card with mana value 2 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. That creature can't attack or block for as long as you control Extraction Specialist. So we got a ward cost of 1. So we're going to drop the ossification on that. Oh, we got to target the land. That's right. I always try to target the creature before. Alright, hit that, yes. We'll pay the ward cost. Okay. There we go. And I'll play a recruitment officer. And attack for 1. I like that tech of the recruiter, the extraction specialist. Alright. No blocks. Alright, let's go here. Let's play the backside of Lunarch. We gain a life. And we will attack with everything we got. Alright, he did it again. So we're going to buff this. Kill that. Get our guy back. Okay. Gain some more life, and then we'll play a Lunarch Veteran on the backside. If we get a Copper Coat, we'll just start swinging in the air. Okay, he's got a recruitment officer as well. And then a Talia. Okay, that's not going to do any harm to me. Yeah, it's just a Plains. Let's go ahead and activate this. Yeah, we'll take the Intrepid Adversary. Next. Attack, 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 attack. All in the sky. Alright, enter. Alright, we got a Copper Coat. I'm at 30 though, so I don't really care. Okay, so he's bringing in the Knight Errant. So let's see what we get. Okay, he plays a Skrelv. Alright, so let's go ahead and play this, and we'll play Intrepid Adversary. We're going to kick it twice. Autopay. And autopay. So that's going to give +2/+2, and then we're going to swing all in the air for 3, 6, 9, 12 Exaxes. Oh my god, we won. That's insane. Okay, so we've got 3 lands. We got Lunarch Veteran, Intrepid Adversary, Gavony Dawnguard, and Seraph Paragon. That's actually pretty awesome, because that's like a full curve right there. Okay, so we're up against red-green right now. So let's start with the Lunark. Lunark Veteran's pretty decent, honestly. Alright. Do we have a 3-2 coming down? No, we have an Ozolith. Okay. Alright, let's go second land. We'll play the Intrepid Adversary. Gain a life. And we will attack. Alright, Invigorating Hospital. Oh, he's ramping up to distribute a lot of counters. So let's go ahead and play a Gavany Dawnguard. Gain a life. Attack for 4. Interesting deck he's got over there. Okay. 4 mana. Do have a Helena and Alana. Not exactly the best card to play as your only card, though. Alright, Doomstar Warrior. Backup, so he's going to back up himself. Get a bunch of +1 counters. Haste, backup 1 trample. When this deals combat damage to a player or battle, look at that many cards on top of your library. You may reveal a creature or a land card from among them, put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library random board. Okay, yeah. No blocks, you get to hit hard. That was a big hit, too. Damn. We're going to need an Ossify for that big boy. So they get to look at 8 cards and choose their favorite. That's pretty strong. Oh, it's a land. Alright. So let's see here. Let's go there. And we'll play Recruitment Officer. Gain a life. Attack all out. Put him to 8. So let's see what they do. Streetwise Negotiator. Back up. This creature assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Okay, cool. Just took 1. Right, we got a Kami's Flare dealing damage. Alright, +1 counters. And they choose not to attack, which is perfect for me. So let's go here. We can play the Sarah Paragon right now, or we can play the Ossify. If we play the Paragon, we're not really getting anything out of the graveyard. So what we'll do is we'll go with the Ossify. Target that land. Target that. And we will attack with everything. And we'll block the Gavany Dawnguard and take 3. Alright, they go to 5. Interesting +1 counters deck. Okay, plays another Doomscar Warrior. Alright. Comes in for 8 damage. He looks at the top of his library. He chooses a Voldaren Thrillseeker. Ooh. Interesting. So that means we need to do something like right now. Let me see here. So, if we get one of them through, so he'll likely block that one. We won't be able to get a +3. Let's see here. Let's play Sarah Paragon. And then we'll play the Intrepid Adversary. Gain a little bit of life. And then we will attack. Okay? It goes to 4. That thing is going to fling on me. I think I just lose now, yeah. Because I just did not have enough damage outright. Yeah. Make him big. Yeah, he just flings it right at me. Yeah. Good job. Interesting deck. I like it. Alright. Land. Lunarch Veteran. What do you play? Okay. So blue-white so far. I'm just going to play the Copper Coat. Gets +1. We swing in for 2. Okay, land is tapped. That's perfect for us, because that means we're going to play Adeline, and we're swinging for a lot. Another token comes in, we get another life. We gain a lot of life with this deck. Alright, that gets cut down. And for turn, next, I'll attack. Another dude. Adeline gets stronger. Bink, 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 bink. And end turn. Alright. Do we have Depopulate? Oh, we have Founding the Third Path. That's cool. I love Founding the Third Path. This is probably my favorite card in Standard right now. It just has so much to offer. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Pass. Gain a life for that coming in. That. By Adeline. Gain a life for that coming in. Next. Yep. And it concedes. Okay. It's Flare of Faith plus Defiance. Got a 1-cost into Combat Tricks into a 3-cost. Let's see if it works. I mean, I feel like I should have mulliganed there, but I like having enough land to cast my spells. Right. And it's got a 1-drop for me, so it's not that bad. Okay, that's good. That's a lot better. So let's go and play Copper Coat. Blood Tithe, huh? Alright. Bing, bing. Alright, Blood Tithe number 2. Alright. So he's gonna sacrifice Blood Tithe number 1 to kill Adeline. Yep. Pay the 1. You got it. Alright. Let's go Copper Coat number 2. Want to block there? Okay. Let's go ahead and give it the Blessed Defiance. Get some life gain. And make a 1/1. I'm a happy little guy. Land for turn? Oh, don't tell me you're missing a land drop. That sucks. I mean, I can handle it. My deck's kind of built for missing land drops. Oh, he had a land. Okay. He was probably just hoping to find something to take care of my board. Okay, so we got 2 lands. A Lunarch Veteran, Recruitment Officer, 2 Catholic Commandos, and a Gavany Dongar. That's a decent mix of creatures. So let's see if we can make this pile win. So we're going to start with the Recruitment Officer. Alright, so we're up against Esper again. So let's go Lunarch, then Recruitment Officer, so we gain a life off of it. And we'll attack. Okay, so we got double tap lands. So Gavany. Okay, for 5. Let's see what they do. Cast Soul Partition. Okay. That's fine. Cast it again. Gain a life. Attack. Alright, you're at 7, and landlocked at 2. Probably out. Yep, he's out. I kind of expected. Okay, hey, here we are for the post-game wrap for the MonoWhite upgrade games. Just want to make a few notes real quick. The deck itself is a lot stronger than it was as just the precon. Adding the few rares and mythics into the deck really did shore up our chances against some games. But if I were to say one thing for certain with this deck is this deck needs to go in hard and fast. It has to be low to the ground, so you probably might even want to drop the Boonbringers for maybe a couple copies of Talia, Guardian of Thraben, just to get more impactful creatures on the board in the early game. It's like once one or two board wipes go off, it's pretty much curtains for this deck. It doesn't have a whole lot of recuperation after a board wipe. Probably the best performing cards in the deck are actually surprisingly the Lunarch Veteran. We drew the Lunarch Veteran almost like within our first couple turns, like for like the majority of our games. And when we did see it, it turned out to be a pretty damn good card. And the fact that you gain life on the front end and the back end of it was really good at stabilizing matches. If we happen to get like a Lunarch Veteran or a Recruitment Officer into Coppercoat Vanguard into Adeline, most of those games were over like boom, 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 just like that. So like if you manage to curve out well with this deck in the first 3 turns, you're going to be having a good time. If your first couple turns are slow, then you're probably not going to win with this deck. So it is a very fragile deck, but it does have the capability to put in wins against some of the top decks in the format. But bear in mind, though, when I was playing this deck, I was playing in Diamond. It's a little bit higher rank than a new player might be in. So if you're playing through Silver, Gold, or even Platinum trying to get your wins, you could do worse than this deck, absolutely. But yeah, consider this deck if you want like an aggressive early game plan. It's pretty decent. So until next time, take care of yourselves.